Greg Parker here, Parker's Property Sourcing. Just coming at you with another video today on a quick breakdown on how to analyze a buy-to-let deal in 10 minutes. Again, this is just a quick run through, but get your pen and paper. All the things I talk about in this video will enable you to take into consideration when you're buying your first deal or you're buying another property investment, basically. So the first slide is why analysis matters. So many investors lose money by not running their numbers. Honestly, you have to run your numbers. You have to work out your return on your investment to make sure that that deal works for you. Refurb costs can catch you out. Underestimating or overestimating the rental, that can catch you out. There's loads of things that within cost, because when you're investing, it's all about money, isn't it? So there's loads of things that can catch you out. So you really have to run your numbers. Really have to run your numbers. And doing proper analysis to avoid nasty surprises is another thing you have to do, to be fair, because if you're not doing your full analysis, analysing the deal further on down the line, you can get caught out. And I'll break it down into more details in the next few slides. So step one, you got to work out your property price. Yeah, your property price. Once you know your property price, you then know what your deposit's going to be. Yeah, so those two go hand in hand, the top two squares. Once you've got your property price, you're going to know what your deposit's going to be. So your deposit's going to be your first cost if you're financing, as in getting a mortgage and putting down a deposit. Then you really have to work out your refurb costs. What I've got at the moment, when I go and view properties, I have a really good builder now that I can take videos, pictures, and go out outside the house as well and take pictures of the garden, the roof, the rendering, the guttering, all of that. I take pictures, I take so many pictures and video recordings. Not fully for myself, but it is good because you can look back on the videos later on that day, but also because I've got to send it to my builder so he can give me the refurb costs, because that refurb cost, and obviously it's going to be an estimate, but as I've said in videos before, when you get your refurb quote, add a buffer. Yeah, these are the things that you really have to do, and you can learn from me. You underestimate your refurb costs, when it's getting done, there might be some nasty surprises. So always add a buffer. But I've got a builder I've got a few builders now that I can send videos and pictures to, and then they can get me an estimate, really good estimate. They're never really that off the actual price it ends up being either. So I can work out my return on my investment. And then more fees to consider are your solicitor, your broker, your solicitor fees, your broker fees, your sourcing fee, and your stamp duty. Sourcing fee, for anybody that doesn't know what that is if you get a deal sourcer. Like myself, I'm a deal sourcer. And then what I do for my investors is I will find them the deal that matches their criteria, and I charge them a small fee for that, pass them on the deal. Some of you may not need that, so that won't be a part of your fees. It's just a safer way to invest. But those are the fees to consider when analysing the buy-to-let. Step 2, your rental income. So you've got to check your Rightmove, your Zooplas for your rents in that area in comparison to the property that you're about to purchase. You really need to do that. One good tip that I can give you is you can check what's being rented or on the market for rental, but what's more important is that number, let's say there's 20 properties in that area up for rent. What's very, very important is if you change the change the what's the word I'm looking for? The search to be let agreed on Rightmove, so you can filter it. That's it. You can filter it to let agreed, and then you really want the let agreed number to be more than what's up for rent at the moment. Yeah, because if that's greater, if the let agreed is greater than what's up for rent at the moment, you know that there's a demand in that area, and that's a big, big thumbs up for the rental demand. Yeah, so that's just a little nugget. Asking local estate agents is always a good one. You can ask them what the going market is, what they think it can rent for. Once the refurb is done and it's ready to go, you can get them in there, send them pictures, get them to come round. That's also another good thing in terms of, getting an idea of what your rental income is going to be. And then last but not least, you can compare with similar properties. So again, properties in that area that have rented for whatever they've rented for recently, and if they're similar to yours, you then know if you're there or thereabouts. As long as the condition of the property's the same or better, then you know you're there or thereabouts. So that's step 2. Step 3, expenses. So this is like monthly expenses you've got to take into consideration. So you've got to allow for voids. Depending on the area, would be depending on the number, but allow for voids. Even if you minus 10% of what the rent is on a monthly basis, and then that figure over 12 months might be your void. That could be 2 months basically worth of people not being in the property. Hopefully you get no voids if you've done your due diligence correctly. You've got the correct area with a high demand, but you've always got to allow for it. Also, a monthly expense would be your mortgage payment. That's obviously what you're going to be paying, the interest only, more than likely on a monthly basis. And then management fees. So my advice to everybody is, if you're investing, we're trying to invest to make that money passive. So pay a management fee to an estate agent or a property management company that can manage it for you and deal with anything that comes up with the property, and then you're just getting your passive income. That's usually about 10% of what the rent is on a monthly basis as well. And also you've got your insurance and your compliance, your gas certificate, your electric certificate, obviously your landlord insurance. That's a necessity, and it's not a massive cost. It's a small cost, so it makes sense to just tailor that into your price when you're working out your monthly expenses. Return on your investment formula is nice and easy, as I've mentioned many times, and I'll continue to mention it. Your net annual income, so that's your income of your rent coming in after all your expenses we spoke about in the previous slides, divided by the amount of money that you put in. So that would be at the beginning again your deposit, solicitor fee, source fee, stamp duty, refurb costs, and then you times that by 100, and that will give you your return on your investment. My target and my suggested target for you guys is between 8 to 15%. 15% in my opinion should be your return on your investment target when buying any buy-to-let property. So an example, quick breakdown, not getting into too much complications. You buy a house for 100k, your deposit and your fees are 25k, your rent £700, your net return on your investment will be 12% basically. Common mistakes made with doing buy-to-lets. 3 common mistakes are this: overestimating on the rent. So we've worked out today how you don't need to overestimate on the rent. Yeah, you look at what's being rented in the area that are similar or same as the property that you're looking to purchase. Yeah, go on Rightmove and Zoopla, have a look at what it's been rented for, similar properties, and you know what's on the market still, yeah, and that kind of give you a gauge of your figure and where you need to be at. The next one is forgetting maintenance. As I've said, always add a buffer. So when you're doing your refurb, add a buffer on a monthly basis, 10% out for voids and maintenance, which will just help you just prepare yourself for any mishaps that you may come across, and then not budgeting for void. Same, yeah, 10%. This is why you got to do. This is why we got to do our numbers. This is why we got to, you know, get below market value properties, because we need to prepare ourselves as seasoned investors to prepare for the worst. Yeah, so we need to make sure that we're ready, and it's a bulletproof investment. So we're ready. We've bought below market value. We've renting it at the highest we can. It's going to be in fantastic condition, and then we're making sure that we're budgeting for maintenance and voids just in case. And if we don't, it's a win-win. So that's been the video. Thank you for listening. Just a quick analysis on a buy-to-let. I've been Craig Parker. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe. Until next time.